So I know a lot of you guys come here today live in Beijing, right? And we all know that on some of the luckiest days, we can see something truly amazing in the morning. So when you open the curtain in the morning, you could actually see this.
Okay.
Nothing, right? Because of the smoke. So the environmental problem and pollution and global warming has become a really big issue these days. It's really a hot topic. But actually the solution to me is quite simple. Why don't we just turn off the warmer here right now? And the problem solved, right? Well, we don't want that. We still want air conditioner in the summer and car with warm air in the winter. So there's a lot of new technology got developed and implemented into our life to make sure that we could keep our living profile without damaging the environment. And the MFC, the microorganisms fuel cell that I'm going to share with you guys today, is one of them. And I'm going to show you two things. This is a bottle of water. Although it looks like a drinking water, it is actually a wastewater from a paper making factory. And this is a AAA battery. Although it looks like a AAA battery, but it is actually indeed a AAA battery. So what I'm really going to tell you today is that this bottle of wastewater could actually work as a battery to produce electricity for us. However, if I just plug my phone in here, it won't work. Of course, we need some help, and that's where the MFC come in, the microorganisms fuel cell. You can see here, this is an example. I mean, this is the MFC that we use. It is not working right now, but that's how it looks. So basically, these two things is going to produce electricity. Actually, this technology might sound really interesting. It is actually got first mentioned during the 70s. However, because of its low efficiency, it does not get really developed during that years. But because of the more research did on the microorganisms, this technology got brought to the surface again. So what my research did is that we want to find out the best chlorophenol concentration for the MFC to work. You might want to ask, what is chlorophenol? Chlorophenol is a dangerous compound that is really dangerous. I'm going to show you the picture of it. And actually, this kind of chemicals could be intake either through mouth, or they could also penetrate your skin. And oh, sorry, this is his evil brother, and this is his structure. Although you don't see the red horn over here, it is still quite dangerous. In the short term, it could cause acute intoxication, including respiration system failure and lung problems. In the long term, it could have the ability to interfere with your endocrine system, endocrine disorder, and also interfere with your cell divisions and eventually cause cancer. And one of the examples of this kind of chemicals damaging the environment is actually happened during the Vietnam War. During the Vietnam War, Americans are really bothered by those Vietnamese because they hide in the forest, right? So they spread 6,000 liters of floating agent. This kind of thing would make the trees leave, not this one, the power plant. This thing actually caused a lot of Vietnamese born with deformed limbs. It's really dangerous. And what's more bad is that this lasts for decades, because these kind of chemicals won't degrade naturally in the environment. And also the traditional chemical degradation way is not really working. So basically the only solution is to use microorganisms to degrade them, and that is what we did. We choose to use MFC to degrade it. So the first step of our sorry, I take in too much chlorophenol. Our research is about finding the right microorganisms for our cell. So we need to find those microorganisms that previously lived in an environment full with chlorophenol, and that is paper making factory. So we searched around Beijing to find one of those, and we could only find one of them, and that is what we got. Obviously, we can get sample from here, right? So my resourceful teammates managed to get those samples from other provinces, so that our research could keep going. So we start off by constructing this is a picture of the working MFC. We start off by creating the electronode over here. It's actually cultivated by microorganisms. So we put all the solution in there and see whether there's electrons. And it is actually quite amazing that there's indeed electrons coming out of there. I don't believe it. I don't know you guys, I don't believe it. So I use my critical thinking that I get from BRS to test whether it is actually working. I take off the wires to see whether it is the data collector's problem, and also I check solutions to make sure that it is not actually forming a chemical battery, like a AAA battery. So the conclusion is that it is actually working. And I know you guys all wanted to ask one question. How does this work, right? How does all these waters produce electricity? And that's, so I made a 3D animation for you guys to show how it works. You can actually see wait for it to complete a circle. Yes. And the right one is chlorophenol. You got the electron node, and the electron goes up to the wire. The hydrogen atom goes through the membrane, and on the left side, the oxygen electrons and hydrogen atom combine to form water. And basically, you can see there's keep electrons, the little blue ones, moving, and that's what is electricity. Is moving electrons. We all know that. And what the left side do is that it keeps forming waters to take away electrons, so that there is less electron on the left side than the right side, so this cell will keep working. After that, we put in chlorophenol to see which concentration is the optimistic, right? So I put it in there, and the way we track this chlorophenol is to use its absorptions. We all know that if you put something more into water, it's going to get darker, right? Which means it absorbs more light. So we use the absorptions to track the chlorophenol, and this is what we got. It looks right. The concentration goes up, which means the microorganisms is actually making more chlorophenol. And that is not the case. Actually, there's some problem with that. And turns out, I found out that it is actually the water in the bathtub that is keeping the cell warm. It seeps into the cell, and it causes the interference of this concentration. So actually, don't you think it is kind of cool if they're actually making the chlorophenol? And we actually encountered a lot during our research. First of all, we can find the microorganisms, and next thing is our balance broke down, and one of our most important machine, the absorptions testing machine, also broke down. But one of the most thrilling one is when I was making the chlorophenol solution. So traditionally you should make it like this, scientifically, right? You put on gloves and all that thing. But the problem is that during that night, the lab ran out of gloves. And the time is really pressing, so I have to make those solutions at that night. So I choose to take a risk. I choose to make it without the gloves. So I put really, really carefully, like this. And all the chlorophenol go as planted onto my hand. And I was really shocked, and I thought that tomorrow's headline would be BRS students gave up his life for science. And actually that did not happen. I am so glad I could still standing here sharing things with you guys. So we complete our project out of these wish to know something we did not know before, and we wish to contribute a part on saving the earth. I know that sounds fake, but actually, who do not want to turn on the air conditioner without worrying about damaging the environment, right? So this is the data we got from our experiment. This is the voltage data. You can see that it is actually not very high. Those 60 means 60 millivolts. It is actually quite small. It is far from enough powering the phone in your guys' hands. So, however, the implementation comes in when we put MFC into the water treatment facilities. So compared to the traditional one, the one with MFC could have less maintenance cost because they don't have to keep putting in chemicals to degrade those wastes. We only need a person to see before the syringe to monitoring how does the microorganisms do their work. And secondly, this kind of MFC could vary in size, as big as those things put into this kind of big factory, and also as small as this one. So what it could do is that we could put these things in different areas. For example, we could put it into our school lab, and also some remote areas, laboratories or paper-making factories in those remote areas. So actually we could control the contamination from its source. And that is the two advantages of this kind of technology. And I believe that if we could optimize the cell structures and the microorganisms, actually this kind of MFC could actually have a lot more use in our daily life.